this is kind of a selfish question, but are there any maintenance tasks that you have a hard time delegating? Like, I'll give you an example of one in our business right now. Like, and I've asked some very high level people and I haven't really gotten very good answers back, but purchasing, like I'm talking about like, yeah, like we've got the sourcing down, but when it comes to actually making the purchases, are you entrusting that with someone entirely? Like, and if so, is that commission based? Is it hourly based? How do you know like that person is making the right purchases? What is your response to that?
Fantastic. It's a great question. And I have outsourced purchasing, and it took me a long time to outsource purchasing. And I'll share with you the process that I followed to outsource purchasing. But to answer your original question there in terms of do I find anything difficult, I think as I've brought in more staff members, virtual assistants, I've found it difficult at every single stage, right? The first time I outsourced sourcing, it was like I'd never worked with a virtual assistant before. It was like, oh my God, how do I work with a virtual assistant that's based in the Philippines? So that was, it was difficult at first, but one of the things that I've learned is once you've done it, you think to yourself, wow, that it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, right? Then it came, as soon as I outsourced sourcing, then I was the one that was reviewing and purchasing. And It actually took me 8 months. It took me 8 months to outsource purchasing because I was the bottleneck and I had insecurities of what if they purchase the wrong product? What if they lose loads of money? You know, what if they're making purchases and nothing sells? So what I did was I developed a system really, because if you're going to outsource purchasing, there's 2 things that you need to know of. There's 2 things that you need to satisfy yourself of. One is the person that you are entrusting in purchasing, have they got the competence to actually know what is the right product, what's a winning product, what's a losing product? Does that make sense? Have they got the competence?
100%.
Are they able to review the data? Do they know what sales rank is? Can they read Keeper? Can they use the tools? They need the competence. Then secondly, the next thing that you need is ultimately confidence, your own confidence that you know that they're going to do it right? And the 2 ways you do this, I put it through like a 3-phase system. The first phase is you need to get confident that they can identify what is a winning product and what is a losing product. And you can do that without them actually purchasing anything. You could give them a list of products to review that you know X amount is winners and X amount is losers. And you can give them lots of training in developing their competence. And what you're trying to do is, are they getting the right answers? Are they selecting the right winners and losers out of that list? If they're not the same as you, if you know the first 3 products are winners and the last 7 products are losers, and they're not giving you the right answer that you're looking for, you can train, right? You can give them feedback. You can say, well, you know, product 7 is actually a loser. Did you notice that the price has recently increased? And you could spot this on Keeper when the price increases just recently. Can you see that the sales have dropped off at this moment in time because there was a difference in price? You can dig deeper into and train them to get them to match your answers. Once you've done that, and once you've gone through phase 1, the goal is for them to basically review and act like you and think like you. So if you give them a list of 20 items, you would look at a list of 20 items, you both get the same result. Does that make sense, Kris?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. The second phase after that would then be, what is the quantities that they would purchase of the winners? Because we've already determined, we're already happy that they know the difference between a winner and a loser. So out of the winners, out of the 3 winners out of the original 10 that I mentioned, the question then comes, well, how many would you purchase? If they said, I would purchase 30 units and you believe that you would only purchase 10 units, then there's a discrepancy on the way that you're reading the data compared to what they're seeing in the data. So you can have that discussion as well. And the goal behind the phase 2 really is for them to, they've identified the winners, which is the same as you, and now they've identified the right quantities, the same as you. So if you would purchase 30, they would purchase 30. If they would purchase 20 and you 60, then you have a conversation and you share the information that you can see and what they're seeing, and you're basically getting aligned. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And then after those 2 phases, that should give you, there's no reason why you should then have the confidence that they have the competence, that they know what they're doing. And at that point, you can outsource purchasing. You can put some protective measures in place, such as you can say there's a limit to spend, right? You've got a daily budget of £1,000. If you go above that budget, please authorize that with me. Or let's say, for example, you are purchasing products, the range between £1 and $1 per unit to $10 or £10 per unit, and they want to purchase a product that is £25 per unit. You can say, you can put parameters in place where you say, if you find a product that is $40 per unit, I want to see that, and I want to confirm that we're both on the same page with that.
And like big companies do this all the time, like for insurance policies or whatever, or like, they're like, hey, if you write anything above this amount, you know, we'll have to approve this. You have to like go to your boss or your boss's boss or whatever. So like that makes perfect sense. Like that big, you know, Fortune 100 companies are doing this. So why reinvent the wheel? That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And just finally, the reason why you get confidence on their competence is everything's managed by spreadsheets and Google Sheets, right? So when you are, depending on how you're managing your purchase logs and your purchasing master sheets, as I call them, you know, when you break down all the information on the products that you're purchasing, you know, the product name, the supplier, the ASIN, the buy for price, the sell for price, you can configure your master sheets to say, I'm going to purchase 60 of these units, 5 of these units, 15 of these units, and the sheet will say what the order total should be. So therefore, they can get the invoice from the supplier, they look at their sheet, and everything matches. It gives you some confidence that there's been no quantity errors or pricing errors.